This is the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast, session number 416, Hypnotic Business Growth with Online Challenges.
Welcome to the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast with Jason Linett, your professional resource for hypnosis training and outstanding business success. Here's your host, Jason Linett.
You know that experience where you look at your calendar and you suddenly realize that you don't really have as many clients booked as you would like? Or perhaps you're an instructor and that event is getting closer and closer and there's not enough people actually signed up for it. No matter what the needs are within your hypnosis business, whether it's clients, whether it's selling products, whether it's running events, the purpose of this week's episode of the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast is to truly peel back the curtain and reveal to you the 5 biggest reasons that I found online challenges are the number one thing that drive the needle the fastest in the growth of my business. And not just for my business, in the consulting that I do, in the coaching that I do, even outside of this hypnotic profession. It's a system that we've now made to work many times over, even again across industries and even within this hypnotic space, whether it's getting clients, getting students, selling products, or you fill in the blanks. The only limitations here would be that of your imagination. Though a couple of things before I officially dive into these 5 points to make online events of this nature even more successful. First of all, notice that I just said online events, because for the sake of ease, from this point forward in this recording, I'm going to only refer to online challenges. However, it could be anything that fits into the category of a virtual event. And no, you don't even have to call it a challenge. It could be the confidence week. It could be the coaching week. Or I said virtual event rather than doing it over the course of multiple days, which is kind of my preference, and I'll explain why as we roll through this. It might be this one-off 1 or 2 hour event. And now your confidence challenge becomes your confidence event. Or maybe you become more clever with your phrasing of things and now it's the confidence gathering. Again, the only limitations would be your own creativity, though for the sake of not giving the list every time I speak through this episode, I'm just going to say online challenges from this point forward. The second thing would be to hear this category, and I'll say this with love, as someone who has been involved with this hypnotic profession as a hobby now for more than 20 years, has been letting it become the full-time source of my income for now going on about 15 years total. It's that, said with respect, there's a lot of limiting beliefs within this space. And because I said online event or virtual event or challenge, some of you immediately defaulted to, I'm not a tech person, I can't do that. Which, as a preview, this is a big part of what I'm going to be sharing this year at HypnoThoughts Live 2023 in Las Vegas. That conference is happening in July. You can find the details for the actual conference on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday over at htlive.net. However, since you're going to be traveling out there anyway, stick around after the convention for a special event called Print Money with online challenges and virtual events. Yes, this is a live, interactive, hands-on training, but more so workshop, where for 2 days, it's going to be us together building out the systems necessary to launch your virtual money printing machine. I'm always going to say the word virtual because I don't want to get in trouble with the government there. No, we're not counterfeiting money. You can find all the details about this event over at challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. That will bring you to all the details of this one-time event. No, we are not going to be live streaming it. No, we're not going to be filming it and then putting it out there for sale because, well, here's a little nuance to this. You need to ask yourself, what should I do differently based on where this information is going? So if it's something that could only be lecture and just watch the videos, good luck. That's where, well, why would we even bother doing it as a live event? When instead, the nature of this hands-on interactive workshop is that, well, it's a hands-on interactive workshop because so much of the messaging, so much of the ethical sales persuasion that truly needs to be dialed in to make your online challenge truly profitable is very little to do, surprisingly, about the technology of this video platform versus that one, this social channel versus this one, and more to do with the messaging. And that's what we are going to be doing together, live and hands-on interactively, so that you have your entire online challenge completely mapped out, ready to launch, ready to implement in your business, probably even before you get back home after traveling out to the HypnoThoughts Live conference. So again, you can find all the details for this upcoming interactive, hands-on, in-person only, I have to keep stressing that, event called Print Money with Online Challenges and Virtual Events. It's happening as a post-conference offering this year at HypnoThoughts Live 2023 in Las Vegas. You can find the details for this event over at challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. In the meantime, before we get to hang out in Vegas, I'm going to walk you through the 5 specific reasons and perhaps a few bonuses along the way that whether you make use of challenges, and here's a hint, you absolutely should. It is officially the fastest driver of the growth of my business in recent years, to the point that I already do a number of these. I probably should do more based on the reasons I'm about to share with you. So even before we hang out in Vegas and dive into this event, this way you can start to get that thinking into motion in terms of exactly what you're going to implement for the specific audience you want to target. Those of you that are already signed on for this event in Las Vegas, what I would say is show up with like one specific audience in mind. The more laser focused we begin, it's going to be a whole lot easier to get it right the first time off of one specific thing, one specific problem that you're going to solve for people. And then once you've got the mechanics down, it becomes ridiculously easy to then, well, rinse and repeat. I would say plagiarize yourself, but as hypnotists, we like to say model excellence. There we go. So check out the details. Grab your spot while there's still time over at challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. And here we go. Let's dive in. This is session number 416, Hypnotic Business Growth with Online Challenges. If it's your goal to grow your hypnosis business, this episode is a must-listen-to episode. And for the sake of time, what I've done here is I've broken down the 5 biggest benefits of doing online challenges, which also I feel this is a platform that does it better than other stuff that's out there. Yeah, you could run a business entirely without ever touching this kind of thing. You can do it entirely the old school way and go listen to the other instructors out there. Sorry for the joke. You know, the ones who are still talking about how to make sure your Yellow Pages ad looks good. Or I will openly say it, and yes, I'm running the risk of an earnings disclaimer here. Your results may vary. Your ability to put this into motion and hold yourself accountable and take action upon it is exactly the measurement of success here. My job in everything that I train is to give you the almost at times insane attention to detail so you understand the how and the why, so this way you can make it your own. So again, for those of you that may have some perceived technical blocks, oh boy, wait till you see the challenge model that I'm going to show you that doesn't even require having a website. Boom. There go those tech excuses now. So again, these 5 reasons why the online challenge format is just so profitable and is one that consistently just hits it out of the park, completely changes the shape of the business, and builds wonderful momentum for growth. So let's dive in to these 5 points and 5 benefits of online challenges. First of all, one-to-many reach. Now, here's the thing about this. We could say that every other mechanism for promoting your services, and again, you could do this to get clients. We could say that everything out there, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's your website, whether it's a social media post, whether it's an email you're sending out to a list, if you've got one yet, we could say every bit of that is one-to-many. The benefit of the online challenge format is the fact that it's a time-based event. And there's not really specific statistics I have on this in front of me, so take it more anecdotally, but it does mirror a lot of what you're going to hear out there on the web. That the piece that is happening in real time, the stuff that is gathering an audience, will get faster consumption. I didn't say it's going to get more views. I'm saying it's going to get faster consumption. So it's really around the speed of that one-to-many reach that imagine this for a moment. Here is the target audience you would like to speak to. And in the shape of your challenge event, especially when you see the formulas of how to design the content of what you're going to be sharing over the course of either multiple days or a single day, if you're doing it more off as a one-off event, it's where you are, well, I'll talk about that on point number 4. Stick around here. But it's that speed of one to many. That was not meant to be a cliffhanger, but I looked and went, well, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So the speed of that one to many reach, it's where you could have this opportunity and you can suddenly have an audience in front of you that is more than many of the meetings you might go and give a talk to. Many of the people who might swoop in and, maybe watch a video on a social platform. So the speed of that one-to-many reach is so unique in terms of its ability because of its time-based event factor. And the same is absolutely true. Those of you saw that I practice what I preach, did a challenge event a few weeks ago. We did a year number 2 of the Do Hypnosis Anywhere challenge. And for that one, we had just as many, if not more, actively engaging and diving into the replay cycle, even as the event was going on. The worst time to engage with content, the worst time to learn something or do something is someday. And this brings a sense of immediacy to it. So again, benefit number 1, the speed of that one-to-many reach. Point number 2. Here's the thing about this, that we would look at traditional marketing, and if you find older school marketing concepts that are out there, you would hear this thing about the marketing rule of 7, where they used to say you need to experience something about 7 times to then truly notice it. And I would say that number is even higher now, because now we find ourselves in a space where there is such an information overload. There's such an abundance of stuff that's coming out there, and we've almost become immune to advertisements and promotion over time to the point that we pay extra for the streaming services to not see the commercials. We pay extra maybe on YouTube to not see the ads. And I can think of my kids are 12 and 10 years old, and looking at this nature of how having to wait for the commercials is something that they didn't really engage with. So it has never been, on both sides of the coin, it's never been easier to get in front of people than it is right now. And it's also never been this hard to truly grab their attention. Couple of points on this. Never assume everybody in the world has already seen everything that you do. That's a major point that a lot of this audience needs to hear. Second of all, just because they engage with it once doesn't mean they're ready to make a buying decision. I mean, right there calls out the flawed model that most people in this space are trying to use for their marketing and promotion. They're leaning on what's called direct response marketing, which is, here's my website, call this number to book a session, and it goes nowhere. So point number 2, you have an easier than ever ability to condition the story. And what I mean by that is to truly condition the story that, and this is going to bleed into point number 3, which I'll bring them here together, to really create expert positioning. It's my little twist on what we need to replace imposter syndrome with, because that's not helping any of us. Instead, let's just replace it with something tangible. When you're the person who does the thing, you're the person who does the thing. And let's look at the classic nature of what a challenge would most often be. The easiest formula would be a 5-day event. 5 days in a row, 1 hour a day, and you're bringing people through a journey. And along that journey, you are conditioning the story that you're the person who helps with XYZ. Fill in the gaps. And again, seriously, do not compartmentalize this as being, well, that's for more scalable things. No, that's for high ticket. No, that's for trainings. No, this is for everything. You can use this for everything that's out there. It's that ability to rapidly condition the story and really just establish that you're the person who does this in a way that, well, point number 5, I won't get ahead of myself. But again, point number 3 is that of expert positioning. It's where it used to be marketing rule of 7. I would argue these days, and if you need a simple example of this, we all know Starbucks sells coffee, yet they still keep reminding us that Starbucks sells coffee. It's that we often need to see it multiple times over. And what used to be the fingers crossed, hope they find us model of business, maybe it'll appease the algorithms on social media and people will find me. Maybe the gods of Google will open up and my website will be found. And instead, it's this ability to, well, let's bring in some hypnotic terminology here. I could say expert positioning from a marketing and business standpoint, or I could talk about compounding. I could talk about fractionation. I could talk about how with each day of the event, people are leaving and engaging further with what your instructions are, and then coming back and re-engaging once again. The appropriate yet inappropriate reference I can make is for those of you that went to college, the dating relationships you likely had in college probably moved a little faster than they did in high school. From the simple example of high school might have been the game of, now it's the weekend, and now it's no longer a school night, and we can go out every other Saturday, perhaps, versus she lives down the hall in the dorms. She lives at that building across the street, and we're here, and we're away from parents, and woohoo, game on. So expert positioning, that is a playful way to bring this into concept here. But it's that ability to, again, that one-to-many reach, the conditioning of that story, and truly lock you in faster as the expert. Which before anyone goes off on this imposter syndrome routine around expertise, two things. An expert can just be that person who's a few steps ahead of someone else. An expert can be that person who's already solved a problem and is now showing others how to solve it too. So even if it's as simple as, dude, I'm making this one up right now. You're at a parking lot and there's one of those kiosks that you put your credit card in to pay for the parking, and that one's broken. But then someone from across the parking lot waves at you and goes, hey, that one's broken, this one's working. Guess what? Based on that definition, they are an expert in terms of how to park in that location. Specialized expertise. Let's maybe go with that to widen this for those that are going, yeah, but off of that. So point number 4, and again, all of this is being shared to really help you to not only look at all of the marketing you do differently, but to look at how we truly tell the story of who we are and what we do. Let me tell you right now, the model of I'm a hypnotist, here's my phone number, and here's what I do. If you ever hear me say climbing out of the commodity trap, that's really the subtext of everything I'm sharing with you right now. Which, by all means, if you want to be the part-time person and only see a couple of clients here and there, and really it's just charging a rate because out of fairness for your time, and that's the level that you want to do it, more power to you. I want you to be happy doing the thing that you do. It's why, in my other sort of partner company now, Attract Pre-Sold Clients, I talk about premium sales. Why? Because look around, the conversation of high ticket has become this, let's go there. This will be fun for the transcription. Egotistical masturbatory party of people who are saying high ticket because they want to charge high ticket, or charging high ticket because they want to get paid high ticket, but they're not really delivering a high ticket experience. So because those two words have become just ruined by some of the more egotistical marketing and programs that make big promises but then don't deliver, it's not that I was trying to rebrand it as something else, but that's why we talk about premium sales over in that company, because that's relative. You go on the web and they're going to define high ticket as being between this price and this price, when meanwhile, you might be doing one appointment, and that one appointment might be $297, $295, $300 even, and that might be considered, here come the air quotes, high ticket to some audiences, yet the internet says, oh, high ticket is this amount and up. So be aware of the stuff that's out there that's noise. Be aware of the stuff out there that's just hype and ego and the nonsense that you and I both hate. Hustle, no days off. And instead, this is where, aside from everything I'm sharing here, make sure you're learning from people who can actually find evidence that they're consistently doing what they're talking about doing, and teaching the stuff that you actually can draw a straight line and see that they're actively doing it. Oh, and this one too. And their students are actually getting results. That kind of went off on a tangent there, but a well-needed one, and that's quite simply the filter that I'm sharing inside of this episode, as well as for those of you that are already signed on for this event coming up at HypnoThoughts Live this year in Las Vegas. Again, the details, challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. Head over there. You'll see all the details. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, live in-person, hands-on interactive event that's happening right after the HypnoThoughts Live conference. If you're listening this far in, wink, wink, you heard this from me. If you're not yet registered for the HypnoThoughts Live convention, you definitely want to be there. However, you would prefer to go to challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com and then sign up for this event. And then on the thank you page, I've got a private link which will help you to sign up for that conference for a much better rate. Hey, who takes care of you? Let's transition now to point number 4. Benefits of this online challenge model. Clear away objections. Now let's talk about this one for a moment. And let me go a little bit deeper into some of the embedded psychology inside of this here. You do not want to run, well, it's in my recommendation that I would advise you to not run a 5-day event where the 5-day event is you're going to quit smoking on day 5. And if that's the case, you better be charging for that one and truly delivering on your promises. Let's branch off of this stop smoking example here, because one of the key embedded psychological principles inside of this model is that in the context of delivering value, in the context of delivering people an experience, you are helping them activate some specific wins within their life, which are doing 2 things at the same time. Listen carefully here. Thing number 1, it's bringing them closer to the change, bringing them closer to the outcome that they want. And 2, it's also clearing away the objections they would typically have to move forward in the process with you. So let's take a moment and let's address the stop smoking one, for example. And this is a big part of why live, in-person, hands-on, interactive, workshop, discussion, punching up and brainstorming is why that's the big shape of what we're going to be doing together in Vegas. It's that what are the things that need to occur so that a person is successful? Which is, it could be the activate your non-smoker brain challenge. And that's a horrible title, but isn't it nice that I'm giving you the crappy titles, which brings you closer to the good ones of your own? If your passion is working with people with public speaking fears, and this is where you can go a little bit wider with your audience draw. You can do a challenge specifically around confidence in doing short form video on social media. And along that journey, yes, you are giving them some strategies. Yes, you are activating some wins. And then you are also revealing, though, that until we can clear away what those old stories are in the mind, as helpful as this is, for some people, it's just a Band-Aid. And that's why I do actually work with people one-to-one, and here comes your opportunity. So here's what's different about this, and this is what's so unique about this model. In the process of delivering value, and by the way, if what I'm about to say sounds complicated, this is why it's a hands-on interactive workshop, challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. In the process of delivering value, you are giving people specific wins that, again, bring them closer to the intention of doing business with you, position you as that clear, obvious, positioned expert. And at the same time, though, it's that ability where it's cleared away the reasons why they normally wouldn't even address the thing in the first place. Do you see how the direct response marketing style that most people in this space are using is kind of just looking for those people who are, quote, at threshold? Do you see how what I've been talking about brings them there so that now they're truly ready for the change? Oh, we help people. It all comes together here. And again, this is a big part of the workshopping of this event that we're doing together in Vegas. Finally, point number 5, and yes, I've already got a point number 6 in my head, but I'm going to still say it's 5 points. So 5 points, and stand by for the bonus. Here we go. 5, own the space. The majority of people in this hypnotic industry are so invisible. And yeah, I will reference the time that Scott Sandland, who is the original founder of the HypnoThoughts Live convention, made a joke of, did you see Jason Linnett's new website? It's Facebook. And I say this next thing not to brag or boast in any way. Instead, I say it because it helps to explain what's behind a lot of what I do. I had someone who said, how can you put out those many podcast episodes and now you're doing live streams on 2 different channels and now you're doing this event and you're speaking at HypnoThoughts and you see clients and you're a dad and you're a father and you're married, and I just said one of those things twice. How do you do all that? And my response was, well, failure to plan is planning to fail. So if it's not scheduled, things don't happen. Yet I wonder what would happen differently if you believed in your message as much as I clearly believe in mine. And look at how most people are stuck in a fingers crossed model of business. All right, I put this thing on this social media site and let me just sit back and cross the fingers and wait. Let me hope that because they wrote this article on me, people are going to find it and then they're going to call me and become my clients. Oh, I got interviewed on this person's podcast. Now I'm going to sit back, and it's the scene from the Steve Martin movie, The Jerk, where his name is in the phone book and he goes, things are going to start happening to me now. And no, not necessarily. So really the biggest difference by nature of running the online challenge, or again, all the other title variations, virtual event, whatever you want to call it, is that you truly have a better opportunity than ever before to own the space, to become, as some would call that, king or queen within that category. That clearly, this is above and beyond even point 3 of expert positioning. It's that you own the space. Your branding becomes the fact that it's you. You are the one who serves that audience. You are the one that solves that specific problem. And branding is something that very often gets very distracting for people in terms of, the colors, the fonts, and all of that. And yes, that's all important, perhaps. Yet it's really the ultimate currency in the 21st century is personal influence. And it's that your niche is not just who you serve and what you do for them and how you do it. It's also who you are. And as a result of this online challenge formula, when it's dialed in correctly, you truly own the space. Here's where the earnings disclaimer comes in. Because, not point number 6, here's the bonus. It's one of the rare opportunities with the right strategies dialed in. This is one of the options. We're legitimately going to be like playing with index cards at one point during this event because there's so many variations of how you can run the online challenge, which is where you could do this, you could do that, or you can add this thing in, you can add this thing in, and there's so many variations. And part of my task in training this event and working with you one-to-one inside of this is that, let's clear away all the confusion. Let's clear away the reasons why you haven't yet properly dove into things. The real bonus, you can get paid to promote. And let me say that again. You can get paid to promote. Now, I'm not going to go crazy specific here because there were a lot of moving pieces to this example of I did the Do Hypnosis Anywhere challenge a little while ago. Last year, I did one around confidence in public speaking and brought those people in as clients. I've made this work for products, for classes, for clients, for a little bit of everything. But let's take for a moment and kind of talk through this Do Hypnosis Anywhere event that some of you saw that I did a few weeks ago. And hey, if you want to watch it, easy to find, dohypnosisanywhere.com. It's no longer live. It's all captured in a library now. You can binge watch it in one sitting. dohypnosisanywhere.com. And buckle up for the sales pitch. That's $27. By the time that event kicked off, I spent about maybe 2 or 3 weeks promoting it. And by the time it kicked off, and I'm going to give you some rough numbers here, more than 1,000 people signed on to that event. And as is the unintentional legacy of the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast, the program you're now listening to, I had people listen and join it who were not necessarily hypnotists. Here was the nutritionist who was curious about learning hypnosis. And at the end of it goes, you know what, I like being a nutritionist, but could you help me with XYZ? And I'm starting sessions with her a few days after I record this episode, which is coming out in July. So look at that adventure where now someone came in and they did that sidestep of the niche for me. The real key is more than 1,000 people signed up. And even before I had even offered that in the shape of a challenge, classically on day 4 or maybe day 5, or you can change this wherever it fits in, you would then give some sort of content upgrade offer, which is a fancy way of saying you've earned the right to then make an offer. And the key is one of my favorite lectures of how to upsell without pissing off your audience is a very, very, very necessary art form, it turns out. Yet it's where earning the right to give that offer and invite, whatever you want to call it, that promotion, hey, buy this, at the right time so you don't lose the audience, and also many of them move forward into it. I'll put it this way, that even before the event kicked off, even before I made the official offer, which is where the real profitability came in for the shape of this specific event, which, yes, was a training event, which, side note, those of you that are instructors, and if you're coming to HypnoThoughts and you're looking at your numbers for events, holy crap, you all need to be the ones signing up for this one first. Again, though, this all works also for getting clients. This is me talking around the fact that, surprisingly, money's not the biggest driver of my motivations. It's more about the audience. It's more about the impact. It's more about the impact you all create. But simply put, it was a very respectful 5-figure income even before I went live on day 1. Now, yes, I've got a mailing list. Yes, I've got a social media following. But rewind the story back, at one point, I didn't either. So there's no reason why anyone should play the game of, yeah, but, because simply put, this has been part of my journey, more so for the last, really at this point, 2 or 3 years. And the exponential growth of what I've done, the reach to new audiences, and the speed of client acquisition, which is a fancy way of saying it used to take this many days or weeks for someone to then become a client. That happens so much faster thanks to that speed of the one-to-many reach. And again, it's a classic understanding that there's a cost of doing business. However, as soon as you tap into a system where you're actually getting paid while you're promoting your services to then sell more stuff that gets you even more paid, you now have truly a scalable model. Again, if you want to use the more ego-driven stuff that's been tainted with the 2 terms of high ticket, be my guest, you know what I'm meaning when I refer to it. I tend to say that of premium sales because, well, that also applies over to, actually working with the people that you're excited to work with and helping the people that are excited to also work with you. And if I can be a part of that, I'd love to help out. Those of you coming to Las Vegas, and if you're not, hey, there's still time. Head over to challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com to watch the video tour of this live event. And again, if you're not yet registered for HypnoThoughts Live, the thank you page will then give you a very generously discounted opportunity to then attend the conference as well. So check that out. Join us in Vegas, challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. Hey there, it's Jason Linett, and thanks again for listening to this episode. And hey, we don't hang out in person enough, so that's why, one more time, head over to challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com. That's where you can find all the details of this upcoming live, hands-on, interactive workshop event to help you to design, create, roadmap, blueprint, launch, and continuously profit from your own online challenges and virtual events. We're calling it Print Money with Online Challenges and Virtual Events. And while there's still time, you can check it out and grab a spot now over at challenge.worksmarthypnosis.com.
Thanks for listening to the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast at worksmarthypnosis.com.